ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय। भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय। शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी प्रबुधानंद भगवान की जय। माता पिता की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। ओम Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4 and verse number 33 we have to see. In verse number 33, Bhagavan praises the knowledge that is liberation. In 32 verse we saw knowing all the yajnas which were as told by Bhagavan are born of karmas, and therefore anatma you will be liberated if yajnas so yajnas also lead to karma as they are born, they are done by a anatma. The karmas are done only by anatmas, the one which is not Atman. So they liberate you. In verse number 33 we'll see Krishna praises the knowledge that is liberation. Shriyan dravyamyat yagyat jnana yagyah parantapa sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. श्रेयान द्रव्यमयात यज्ञात ज्ञान यज्ञ परंतप सर्वं कर्म अखिलम पार्थ ज्ञाने परिसमाप्यते. परंतप, O scorcher of foes, Arjuna, Partha, hey Arjuna, Dravyamayat Yagyat, as compared to the religious disciplines performed with materials, Jnana Yagya, the discipline of knowledge, Shreyan is superior. Partha, O son of Partha, Arjuna, Sarvam, all karma, actions, Akhilam, it in its entirely, Jnanena, in knowledge, Parisampayate, is resolved. Hey Arjuna, the great archer, this discipline of knowledge, the discipline of knowledge is superior to religious disciplines performed with materials. Arjuna, all actions in its entirety get resolved in knowledge. It's in verse number 24 we saw the clear vision of Atma, Samyag Darshana of the nature of the Atma was given the status of Yajna. That is, it was explained in form of Yajna. It was done in order to present Atma as a non-doer. The Atma is non-doer by converting all the Karakas. Karakas were converted into Brahman, which means that everything is Brahman. To unfold this knowledge, many kind of yagyas were mentioned, each of which can help a seeker gain a purified mind, so that the knowledge can take place. Knowledge can take place only in the purified mind. The Vishay here is Brahman. Brahma Vidya is the Vishay. And for Brahma Vidya, you need purified mind. Who is qualified for Brahma Vidya? The one who has purified mind, whose antakaran shuddhi has done, who is viveki, vairagi. And there is a deep meaning of all these words. Through these texts, through this text, all the text, a seeker attains knowledge. The result is Brahman. After getting Brahma Vidya, the oneness with Brahman is the result. So, you need a purified mind for knowledge. Because of their usefulness in gaining antakaran shuddhi, these yagyas were pointed out. However, one must avoid being carried away by the disciplines themselves, because they have a limited end. They can only prepare the mind for knowledge. The ultimate end, moksha, can only be gained by knowledge, one, not by the performance of religious disciplines. This is Viveka. A purified mind understands this, that he is not supposed to be carried away. He is not supposed to be carried away with the disciplines themselves, the religious disciplines. Because these disciplines are only to prepare the mind for knowledge. Brahma Vidya. The ultimate end, which is moksha. The result of Brahma Vidya is moksha. It's attained through these texts. Disciplines are only a means, not the end. Religious disciplines are only the means, not the end. Religious disciplines are only the sadhana. Only the sadhan towards the end, which is moksha. Therefore, the discipline itself is not an end. Any discipline is but a means for the given end, one of which is antakaran shuddhi, purification of the mind, and another is antakaran nishchalya, steadiness of the mind. Nishchalya, steadiness of the mind. Mind is peaceful, purified, peaceful. With such mind you will surely gain samyag darshana, the clear vision of nature, of the self, being totally free from action, the self which is free from action. This samyak darshan is praised in this verse by contrasting in the various karmas mentioned previously. Clear vision means the clear knowledge of oneself. And how do you gain this clear vision? Not by any of these disciplines. Krishna point out here, the samyak darshan needs to be understood, for which there is also a yajna to be done. Jnana yajna is to be done. Jnana yajna is the only yajna through which you can get this knowledge of self being totally free. This yajna is praised here. Krishna addresses Arjuna as Parantapa in this verse, meaning one who scorches his enemies. We have seen that the word enemy can stand for one's affiliations, such as kama, krodha, ragas, dveshas, and so on. Since Arjuna was a Kshatriya warrior, the word can apply to enemy in the usual sense of the word as well. We are told here that Jnana Yajna is Shreya, something superior, Shreyas, meaning that it is definitely the thing to be done. Wherever the word superior appears, the question always arises, superior to what? What is it superior to? But there is no real comparison here. Instead, Krishna is pointing out that what Jnana Yajna is, it is superior, Shreyas, because it gives you moksha. There it is not compared with any other yajna. There is no comparison. Because it gives moksha, it is superior to everything else. Therefore, there is not the usual sense of better and the best here. Here the word Shreyas means the best. Dravya Yajna. Dravya Yajna refers to the yajna that is performed using oblations, Havan Samagri, which implies the use of certain material or object. The Havan Samagri is poured. All rituals fall into this category because Dravya Yajna can only give you limited result. In the form of punya and certain satisfaction. Jnana Yajna is described here as being superior to them. For instance, when you offer prayer, there is an immediate satisfaction, which is Drishtaphala, a seen result. What you are able to pray is an end in itself, and the result of prayer you will also have some relative contentment. This too is Drishtaphala. There will also be a Drishtaphala, an unseen result in the form of Punya. Knowledge swallows the doer. Knowledge eats up. Thus, there are two types of phala for a prayer. One is the immediate result that you gain, and the other is invisible result that is accrued to you. It is into your account. The ritual implies a karta, a doer, as well as various material, and it is therefore an initiator of result, whereas Jnana Yajna is a swallower of all the result. The pursuit of knowledge itself is the Yajna. Jnanam eva Yajnaha. Because Jnana Yajna swallows the karta, the doer. It does not further perpetuate the samsara. It swallows the samsara. Jnana Yajna does not initiate any result. Na phala arambhaka. Because it's devoured the very doer. The moment you begin to ask what is Jnana, what is Atma, and so on, the Karta is very much in question. As long as you are questioning with your inference and perception, however, the Karta, the one who inquires, infers, the perceives will remain. If on the other hand, the Karta is exposed to the teaching of Vedanta, the Karta will be swallowed because there is no Karta. Vedanta will tell you, the Karta, you are a Karta, but you think you are Karta because you do not understand what Atma is. Doership is just thought that comes and goes. When that thought is not there, like in sleep, where is the Karta? Or between two thoughts, where is Karta? There is no Karta. You are a Karta only. There is no Karta. You are the Akarta only. You perform no action at any time. You are not the thought. You are the one behind every thought. The thought is you, no doubt, but you are free from the thought. When thought goes, you are, and when thought is, you are. Like this, Vedanta teaches the Akarta that he or she is Akarta, thereby knocking off the Karta. Knowledge is beyond the range of comparison. To say that this verse is comparing Jnana Yajna to the religious disciplines mentioned earlier is not appropriate, because Jnana Yajna destroys all karma. To say that something is better than something else implies that something else is still here. Here the karma that Jnana Yajna is supposedly being compared to is gone, destroyed by Jnana Yajna. How then can it be said that Jnana Yajna is better than karma? When a person says it is better to be married than to be single, or it is better to be single than to be married, there is something better involved. But here it is not matter of Jnana Yajna being better than karma, since absolute knowledge of oneself is beyond the range of comparison. It is not even the best. Comparison are possible only when both the things being compared are within the range of comparison. Karma Yajna cannot be compared with the Jnana Yajna. There is no comparison. Knowledge and karma are two different orders of reality. Knowledge deals with the absolute, and karma is completely swallowed by that knowledge. Also, in terms of the result achieved, there is no possibility of comparison. The result achieved by karma is limited, and that achieved by knowledge is limitlessness in itself. It is limitlessness. The limitlessness is achieved through Jnana Yajna. When I am limitless, there is the possibility of comparison. You can compare members of the same order of reality. You cannot compare an achievement belonging to one order of reality to that of another order of reality. Therefore, karma is one thing and jnana is quite another. Yet, for what of better expression, the word Shreyas, superior, is used here. The beauty of this word is that even though it is comparative expression, it indicates moksha. By one kind of yajna, the jnana yajna, you get moksha, and by other kind, the dravya yajna, you do not get moksha. You get only the result which is limited. Dravya yajna can only give you limited result, that is the other than yourself. Either some external result or an internal result called antakaran shuddhi. If you are karma yogi, a mumukshu, you will gain antakaran shuddhi, which is useful for gaining knowledge. The various yajnas or religious disciplines you perform as karma yogi help you to perform the jnana yajna. The inquiry into Shastra properly, inquiry is the direct means of gaining samyak darshana, the clear vision, whereas the other yajna simply helps you in that inquiry. They lead you, they help you to inquire. The destruction of karma is total. Jnana yajna is said to be Shreyas, superior, because knowledge destroys all karma, meaning that karma is entirely resolved in knowledge. Sarva karma akhilam jnanena parisampyate. Akhilam, with reference to karma, means that there is absolutely nothing left over after knowledge take place. All karmas and everything connected with them are totally gone without any trace of anything left behind. Sarva is used here to indicate that all karmas go in the wake of knowledge. Sometimes even all is said, there is something left over. For example, when you say all the people at the beach are surfers, or all the people living in Beverly Hills are rich, these statements are not really true. For instance, there are people such as servants who are not rich in Beverly Hills. They are also those who will be living in big houses, have enormous debts, their liabilities being much greater than their assets. Therefore, statements using the word all are not always totally true. This word is more often used to indicate the predominance rather than the entirety. Here, wherein there is absolutely nothing left over. Recognizing that the relative meaning of sarva may exclude some things, Krishna used the word akhila also in this verse. Since both of these words appear together, sarvam akhilam, there is no doubt whatsoever that what was meant here was karma in its entirety. And this karma resolves into knowledge. Jnanena parisampyate. And there is nothing more to be gained. There is nothing other than this to be gained. When you gain this knowledge, everything belongs to you. There is nothing more to be gained. There is a verse in Chandogya Upanishad, Yatha krataya vijitaya dhaireya sanyatva mena sarva tadabhipsameti yat kincha praja sadhu kurvanti yastade dved yat sa veda sa maya tukta iti. That describes this totality by linking it to what happens in the game of dice. In ancient times, during the game of dice, the four faces of dice are called as follows: 1 Kali, 2 Dwapara, 3 Treta, and 4 Krata. The Krata was considered to be the winner. That is, when you threw the dice and he got the one with the number 4, Krata facing up, he was considered the winner. When the number 4 Krata wins, then in the winner all the other lower ones are included. When you throw a dice and 4 comes, or let us say in our dice, when 6 comes, all the numbers include in 6. Similarly, when you gain this knowledge, you get the whole. Everything belongs to you. The idea here is that once you gain moksha, there is no way of anyone or anything getting the better of you. You win all the way. There is nothing else. Nothing else is to be achieved. After gaining this knowledge, nothing, no object can satisfy you. You understand this. When you understand this, then there is nothing to be gained. Karma phala can give you only limited happiness, sukha, whereas knowledge gives you absolute happiness. Paramananda, parama sukha. Sukha, it is not only sukha, it is parama sukha. Absolute happiness. In Paramananda, even the little happiness is included into it. Which is why Bhagavan says that karma resolves in knowledge. Jnanena parisampyate. Another way of looking at this resolution is to see that from the standpoint of the knowledge, Atma is not subject to karma. Knowing this, all the karmas, Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma, and Agami karma. Sanchit karmas are the karmas you have been collecting in all the lives previously. You kept on doing good deeds, kept on doing all the religious yajnas. The karmas, the punyas were collected. All this collected punyas are now sanchita karma. And then there is prarabdha karma and agami karma. And these karmas resolve in knowledge. When I understand I am not subject to karma, it means that I am free from the accumulated karmas standing in my account. And I am also free from the new karmas because I am a karta. If I understand myself as a karta, then there is no agami karma. There is nothing to be done now. Kratsan karma krata. This is the beautiful word. Kritsan karma krata. I am not subject to prarabdha karma because I am a bhokta. I am a bhokta. I am not an enjoyer. Prarabdha is only for the bhokta, the one who wants to enjoy, the enjoyer. Prarabdha is only from the standpoint of the physical body, mind and senses. There is seemingly some action going on at that level due to prarabdha, but that is different thing altogether. It has no effect on the Atma whatsoever. This is what Bhagavan is trying to explain. This is the absolute knowledge. That is why Gita is also Veda, included in Veda. It is not other than the main Shastra. Further, Bhagavan explains how this knowledge can be accomplished. In verse number 34, Bhagavan says, by saying that all religious disciplines, karmas, resolve into knowledge, Bhagavan once again praises the knowledge. Even though Arjuna knew what he had to do to gain the knowledge and had already done it by asking Krishna to teach him, in the next verse Bhagavan says, confirm that Arjuna had done the things right. Tadvidhi parinapatena Tadvidhi parinapatena Pariprasanena sevaya Upadekshanti te jnanam Jnanani nastatvadarshinaha. Bhagavan says, understand that which is to be known by prostrating the wise, by asking proper questions and by serving them. Those wise persons who have the vision of truth will teach you this knowledge. Who will teach you this knowledge? The one who has this knowledge. The one who is through the parampara, the one who has attained the knowledge through Shastra parampara from his Guru and he his Guru, Guru Shishya parampara. Without attaining knowledge through parampara and devoting proper time, understanding the Gyan, understanding the knowledge, the one doesn't become the teacher. A teacher has to be wise person who has the vision of truth, who has absolute clear vision of truth and who does not deviate from the Vishaya, the truth. He teaches you the truth only. He doesn't let you flow with the rituals, religious rituals and kathas and kahanis, the stories. He doesn't let you flow. He just keeps your attention towards the Vishaya only. The one who is clear can only do all this. No other person can do. Here Bhagavana explain how this knowledge can be accomplished, how the Gyan Yajna is to be conducted. Every yajna is in form of a ritual and has certain stipulation, such as when it is to be performed, what kind of, and how many priests should participate, which material to provide, who is to be paid, what, and so on. These stipulations are elaborately detailed in Veda. For Gyan Yajna, however, you require no priest, only a teacher. Nor is there a stipulated time for the yajna. There is nothing but your inquiry, your jigyasa. When you find your teacher, when you are ready, then you begin. A teacher will teach you only when you are ready, when you from your antahkaran think, yes, now I want to know the truth. There is no question of when here. There is only then. There is no when. It is only then. Atahato Brahma Jigyasa. There is no other consideration. It does not matter whether you inquire in the morning or in the evening, in summer or in winter, whether you inquire before or after you are married or after your retirement. There is no such rule, because knowledge is involved, not karma. It is not karma, it is knowledge. This we will see tomorrow. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.